might kiss. We are alone. Nobody's watching. We might take it home. We might make out when nobody's there. It's not that we're scared, it's just that it's delicate.
It was probably, I remember kind of around middle school when, well, for me middle school, and it was Friends, the show Friends was on then, and I remember like we all like wanted to look like Jennifer Aniston and get the haircut, and I just, yeah, that's the time that I remember.
Like, I didn't really have problems with my weight for a long time, like until like my early 20s. Like as a teenager, it wasn't really a thought for me because I had like other things that I was worried about, like school and stuff like that. So I was a lot older than a lot of people when they have stuff like issues like that.
But you don't remember like wanting to look like the people you saw?
I mean, when I started thinking I was overweight, yeah. But that wasn't until a lot later.
We might kiss. We are.
So definitely the magazines, and I mean, and honestly, you know, in later years when I developed my eating disorder, I would definitely use those magazines as, you know, inspiration.
As motivation.
Yeah, as motivation to lose weight and to look like them. I'm trying to think, what else? Facebook at that time. I mean, Facebook was,
Did you like
I'd always be comparing myself.
to like your friends and stuff?
Yeah.
So not so much like ads.
Not so much ads, but there was a time, I don't know if you know or remember, but like when Mary-Kate Olsen
Yeah.
had her eating disorder, and I bought every single magazine that had her on it or in it, like every single one. And I was like, oh, how thin is she now? How thin is she now? And it was like,
You were,
okay.
like, comparing.
Yeah, and I had to, you know, be as thin as that. And I just, like, ate it up. Pardon the expression. But it's just so interesting because I do remember wondering, what is the media, like, what are they trying to say? You know, like, why is this all over every magazine for months? Is this supposed to be a warning? Is this supposed to be, like, glamorizing it? But it was hard to not see it as being glamorized.
Alone.
Tumblr. I don't know a lot about Tumblr. I mean, I do and I don't. I'm not that old, but I just hear like blog-wise and comparing each other. I'm trying to think what, Instagram, that one, from clients' Facebook, and I mean, and comparing one another to each other. I mean, granted, that's not necessarily media in that sense, but it's a form of media, and people are sort of, I mean, that's not, I don't think it was made for people to compare themselves to
But
one
they're
another.
seeing pictures of their friends and they're seeing pictures of...
Honestly, internet. Because, like, when I started getting into my insecurities, it was when, like, Pinterest started getting super big. And for me, Pinterest was just, like, workout routines and recipes. And it was just really triggering workout routines and really triggering recipes. It's like all lined up next to each other, and so I would be in the middle of like pictures. So yeah, with Pinterest, it would just be like, it started my obsession with my obsession with exercising, and my obsession with food. So I would be exercising constantly and then cooking constantly and baking.
So you would try all the things you saw?
I would try, yeah, everything. Like, which is like, a lot of people go on Pinterest with. A lot of people go on Pinterest just to like post all the things that they think look cute, but I became obsessed with like doing it because it looked so great online, especially like these amazing bodies. And so I would want to do these exercises, and then I would go home and bake these amazing desserts, and it was just this weird combination of things, and it just ended up being a horrible combination. And so that's, I think, what started my whole, it started my whole questioning of like what I was supposed to look like.
And you thought doing all those things was going to make you look like that girl you saw in the picture?
I think so. I think it was the first time I started actually looking at my body in that way. So I didn't really think about my body at all. I concentrated on school and work. Those and my friends. Those were my priorities. And I didn't really think about my body. It was not a concern for me. But then I started looking at workout routines and cute clothes on the internet and shopping and cooking, and all of a sudden I was much more aware of my body and became much more self-conscious about it. Then I started exercising more and started getting this idea of what I wanted it to look like, and as time went on, that idea of what I wanted it to look like became really unrealistic, and from there it just went downhill. And that's when I started getting into the crash diets, and for the longest time that became like school, work, friends became secondary to my body.
But you didn't know what you were looking at was unrealistic?
No, because I thought, well, I'm seeing pictures of it, it exists somewhere.
And so you thought you had to look like that.
Right, like, so everyone talks about Photoshop and stuff, but I'm like, that's not Photoshopped, it looks real. So, like, if this person's body exists, that means it's possible. So why isn't it possible for me? So, like, this girl is out there looking like she is, so it's attainable.
Follow. Nobody.
I mean, usually though, the clients that I see, by the time they get to me, they've they're full blown into eating disorders, right? So they're not exactly anywhere near bad diets.
Yeah.
But I mean, I know in the beginning people start cutting out, the go-to is to cut out the carbs and the sweets and sugar. Yeah, just to eat.
But no specific one?
No specific ones.
Because
I don't think anything in particular. That paleo diet. It's like all raw. It's like you're supposed to be eating like the cavemen.
Like just eat all raw stuff?
It's like raw stuff. Yeah. I don't know if that's the same thing. If that's paleo and raw, it's the same thing. But I think it is. Heard a lot about that, and I'm just it's creepy to me.
Yeah. My first one was the HCG diet. That was crazy. It involves getting injected with a pregnancy hormone, and then doing a 400 calorie a day diet, and pretty sure the hormone that I was taking was a placebo, and I'm pretty sure the whole 400 calorie a day was what did it. I feel like that's all you kind of need. So I lost like 20 pounds in a month. And I found the miracle diet, but naturally, and the whole diet is like, it's just a month and then you're done and you're skinny. But I somehow didn't understand, didn't see the fact that after that month, of course I would gain it back. The worst part for me about the HCG diet is that it makes you check your weight every day. Then after HCG, that was what got me into throwing up my meals. Which is just a concept that I thought was ridiculous for the longest time. Ridiculous. It was just like, how would someone think that was even a sensible thing? It wasn't until I moved home that it started getting weird. My parents saw that I was just eating a ton and then stopping eating and then getting really weird. So they started noticing that because I'd never had that problem before. I'd always been confident. And And they started noticing that, like, I was always checking my weight. Like, if I even came over, I would get on the scale at their house. This is funny, actually, because
I was
I still do this.
I was just thinking that.
Yeah, old habits die hard. Yeah, some of the stuff never goes away. I don't throw up my meals anymore. I don't check my weight. I don't even go near the scale. I don't need to know my weight. It's useless information. And all you can do is take it one day at a time, I guess.
We are low.
Because it.
That gets me so worked up. That's what I was actually thinking when I'm thinking of like Tumblr and this and that.
Yeah.
You know, I remember being on them. I do, and it's just sad. You know, like that's what people can end up spending their time on. Well, it's disturbing they promote it, but not even. It's just that those people clearly need help of some sort, you know, and they're not getting it yet. And I know that, you know, there have been a lot of, what's the word, like different websites have tried to shut the things down, but I mean...
They keep finding ways to... I saw that people try and shutting down, but they find another way to post it.
Yeah.
And I think there's always going to be a way to post it.
Well, and then it gets into the whole issue of, like, freedom of speech and, like, you know, and... I don't know, I don't think that's freedom of speech, but that's just my opinion. I remember, gosh, they're upsetting, because really the people who are doing them, right, it's like, they need a lot of help.
I didn't know about the pro-Anna, pro-Mia stuff when I was in my eating disorder. I only knew about it when I started working with girls with eating disorders, and they would show me that stuff online, like on Instagram and Tumblr and stuff. I'm telling you, internet has been like, internet is terrifying when it comes to this stuff. Like, I think that's what did it for me. Like, magazines, TV, honestly, like, I think it makes a huge impact on girls, but I think internet has made it skyrocket. And on Instagram, I think I've seen, like, pictures of, like, skeletal girls, and, like, the hashtags that'll be, like not good enough or something, or like someone will comment and be like, you're doing great. It used to be you would have to turn on the TV or you'd have to get a subscription to a magazine, and now you just get online and put in a hashtag and you can see millions of people that are thinking like you, and it's not like it's easier to find someone that agrees with you than the one that's trying to tell you that it's not right. 'Cause
We are low.
You know, that's a good question. I mean, I want to say that it's going up.
Or do you think more men are actually getting help for it?
I think it's probably that.
Because I know, like, with them, they have to have, like, all these muscles, and so it's the same thing.
And athletes and wrestlers, and I've actually known quite a few wrestlers who purge, and, you know, and it's like, well, that's just what we do. Well, okay, but that's bulimia, you know. It's not normal.
Because most guys think it's, like, a girl disorder, or it's only in girls.
No, it's definitely men and women. No doubt about that.
Yeah, and it's, like, even stereotyped. It's like, oh, only white, blonde girls have eating disorders. It's not at all.
You know, it's actually interesting you say that, because just seeing kind of the population coming into treatment these days, it's not like that at all. You know, we're actually seeing more and more, you know, not just like middle class, but like lower income teens and adults, and it's just really interesting, you know.
me away. You turn around and you beg me to stay. Got down by the things you say. Stop beating up a broken drum. Na 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 na, eh eh. Na 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 na, eh eh eh. One on stage, you push me away, eh. Turn around, it'll be too late.